Is the cheapest protein powder on the market any good? That is the question for today. All right, so this protein is the Elevation Whey Protein Blend. We got the chocolate flavor. You can find this protein powder at really any Aldi store. If you haven't heard of Aldi, it's pretty much a grocery store that sells wholesale sort of prices because they don't do any advertising. You can go in there and get food for a lot cheaper. And a lot of the time with cheaper comes worse quality. So we're gonna be looking at this $18 protein. Is it any good? All right, so some basic facts about this protein. It's got 18 servings per bottle, 30 grams of protein, and then we'll go into a little more with that later. So that's basically $1 for every serving, which is pretty darn good. But is it really that good? So we're gonna be looking at kind of what makes a good protein and if this lives up to that. So one of the first main qualities of a good protein powder is when the protein powder is actually, and now this may sound obvious, made up of mainly only proteins. A good quality protein powder will extract all the other fats, carbs, and other things, lactose, out of the original powder to make it very pure, which is a higher quality protein. And so when it's not extracted to that extent, it's gonna leave some fats, carbs, and more calories in the blend. But is this necessarily a bad thing? And my answer would be no, unless maybe you're lactose intolerant. There could be some lactose in here, or you're wanting a lower calorie protein option. But for guys like me, and maybe you who are in a bulk, I'm not necessarily complaining about that. So for me, that doesn't really make a difference. You can see here we got 180 calories, which is kind of on the higher side for a protein. And there are 4 calories in 1 gram of protein, basically. So if we have 30 grams of protein in here, you multiply that times 4 and get 120 calories. So there's 60 calories in here that are coming from the excess fat and the excess carbs, which again for me isn't a problem. For you, it may be. The next thing is the ingredients list. A good rule of thumb generally is the less ingredients, the better. There's gonna be certain things like flavoring in here and other stuff that you may not know what it is, but generally less is better. The more ingredients is generally more processed, and the less, vice versa, less processed. So again, if you're looking for a cleaner, better quality protein, you're gonna wanna look for something with less ingredients. So this does have more ingredients, and we'll get to why that is in a second. So when it comes to protein powders, there are generally 3 types. You got your concentrates, isolates, and hydrolysates. And each of these are all whey, they just undergo different amounts of processing. But this type of processing isn't necessarily bad. So the concentrates are the least processing. So this is gonna leave in more carbs and fats and more calories, but not necessarily less protein. And then the isolate is another step up of processing to further extract just the proteins out to make it pure. And then the hydrolysate, I always have trouble saying that one, is the most processed in the sense of it's the purest type of protein. So this type of processing that I'm talking about isn't a bad type. This is basically just how they extract the protein. And the last one is the most purest type of protein. So this one right here is pretty interesting. It's a blend of the concentrate and isolate. So it's between the least processed and the medium processed, which is interesting and something I don't see too often. But what might throw some people off is the fact that it's a proprietary blend. And here they just mark it there to be, right here, some creatine monohydrate in here, some taurine and some L-glutamine, which are all good ingredients, and I can explain those further in another video. And the proprietary blend is 4.5 grams, but the problem with these proprietary blends is that they don't necessarily have to put the amount of creatine in those, the amount of taurine L-glutamine, it's kind of just unknown and ambiguous. So this can be kind of scary because they don't have to put the actual amount in, so you don't actually know how much you're getting. And I've even seen things where there's some proprietary blends where they don't have to list all the ingredients that are in the blend. Here it seems to be, but again, for all I know, there could be other stuff in there. Now that I've gone through all this, what would I rate this protein out of 10, and would I recommend it to somebody else, and will I keep taking it? So overall, what I would rate this out of 10, taking in price, quality, and effectiveness, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Simply because I've never seen a protein so cheap and affordable for younger people like me. So this makes it really feasible for younger audiences to start with protein. Would I recommend it to someone? Depends. If your main goal is to put on mass, then yes. If you're looking for something very clean and pure, maybe not necessarily. There's probably better options, but I think for the price, this is the best quality you're gonna get. And then last thing, will I keep using this? Yes, until I am able to afford maybe better quality, I would switch to something else. But for now, this gets the job done. There's 30 grams of protein in here, can't complain. There may be some other stuff, but that's what you get what you pay for pretty much. Point is, I'm gonna keep using this until I can maybe find or afford something else. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with the protein. I recommend you go try it out if it's something you'd be potentially interested in. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.